Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening out there in the world? Welcome to the studentloanjustice.org live stream. It is Wednesday, last day of August. I hope you all are doing well out there in the world today. We're kind of in transition here. We're actually moving our headquarters. So we will be on Friday in a new location. So cool. I'm going to put my hat back on. I don't have a studentloanjustice.org hat with me right now. So you're going to have to deal with the Rhinelander Hodag. The song I just tried to play badly. What it all comes down to, it's Alanis Morissette. What it all comes down to, my friend, is that no one's really got it figured out just yet. I've got one hand in my pocket, etc. I played that song, really bad segue, only to underscore how FUBAR everything is right now with the federal student loan program. This was bound to happen. And by the way, if you're new to the group, welcome. We are studentloanjustice.org. We've been around for many years. We've done many things. We're fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We are a no bullshit, pardon my French, true grassroots group. And so you can believe me when I tell you that the federal lending program is evaporating into a mist of illegitimacy right now. As we speak, before our very eyes, we are the fortunate or unfortunate witnesses of the death throes, the death spiral of the federal student loan program. Even before COVID, this thing was done, guys. Even before COVID, more than half of all borrowers, 60%, were not paying on their loans. Now, here today, almost nobody's paying. And come January 1st, regardless of all the chaos and the FUBAR that's going on right now, very few people will pay. My prediction at this point is that only maybe 10% of the people will resume paying on their loans. And, you know, the more shoes drop with this Biden student loan cancellation, it would seem, the lower that number goes. You know, just today we heard, for example, and by the way, if you have any questions or comments and I can see them on Facebook or Twitter, throw them out and I will respond to them. Like today, Mississippi announced that it would be the first state to tax this up to $10,000, up to $20,000 loan cancellation that Biden announced. Think about that for a minute. Make no mistake, guys. Many, if not most, student loan borrowers are scraping by right now. Inflation is wrecking them. More than half of them weren't able to pay at all on their loans even before the pandemic. These people are not doing well by and large. So what's a state tax on $10,000 or $20,000? Well, I'm guessing it's probably around between like $500 and $1,000. So if other states follow the same suit that Mississippi did, it's gonna be like, congratulations, you're broke. You have student loans. We just took some nonsense interest monopoly money off of your balance. And oh, by the way, you now owe the state government $500 or $1,000. It'll be the higher amount if you got the Pell Grant, which typically means you came from the most austere background. Like you got the Pell Grant, so you had to be, I think, on public assistance or something. I don't know exactly what the criteria for Pell Grant is, but you were definitely among the most financially needy when you were in college. And, you know, so here we have just the most reverse, batshit, bizarro, makes no sense, perverse penalty system, this tax penalty that many, if not most people I know with student loans, they're not going to be like, oh, cool, you reduced my balance from a 160,000 to 150 or 140, and now I have to pay my state $1,000 or $500. Get bent. You know, that right there cut down on the number of people who are going to apply for this thing by half, more than half, probably. So now we've got the number of people that are actually going to get this loan cancellation down by 50, 75%, I suspect. See the games that are going on, guys. Do you see what they're doing? Open your eyes, please. This is bullshit. I'm sorry. Don't pardon my French. This is bullshit. This is exactly the kind of trick that we were fearing. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, or maybe you are hearing this for the first time, believe me when I tell you, this all comes down to the absence of bankruptcy protections. The trick that we've been afraid of is that the bad guys would foist a fake loan cancellation scheme upon us, and they would keep the threat, the constitutionally enshrined threat of bankruptcy, gone from these loans. Well, I'm here to tell you that it appears strongly that this is the way this is shaking out, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the way it's going to go. I suspect that every shoe that drops from here on out, I don't think many shoes will drop until after the election in November. But I think there'll be many other shoes that are going to drop where the Department of Education is going to arrange things, or maybe be the lucky beneficiary of external influences, external factors, whereby very few people will actually make it through that application process. And maybe even very few people will even apply in the first place now. After all, do you want 10,000 fantasy dollars canceled off your gajillion-dollar student loan? It's kind of like take it or leave it. You know, some people in our group are like, yeah, you can add 10,000 to my balance. I really don't care at this point. So am I going to apply for this thing? No. And if I'm going to have to pay $500,000 in state tax, am I going to apply for this? Fuck no. Pardon my French. So nobody's got it all figured out just yet. We're kind of in a chaotic moment. And I can tell you guys, after 18 years of experience, every time there's chaos, a period of chaos and, you know, the fog of battle and so forth, that's when the bad guys sneak in and make their little move. And then after a while, everyone's like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know that. But wait, whoa. And bad guys are like, huh? Yeah, should have read the fine print. Yeah, what'd you think? That's the way this goes, guys. We don't have to put up with this bullshit. Don't make any mistake, guys. This lending system is failed. It's finished. It's done. In my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another dollar back on their federal student loans. Don't listen to any of the nonsense you see in the media right now. People wagging their finger at us, how we're leeches on society. That's bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. The federal government is running a lending scam like no scam we have ever seen in our nation's history. It's disgusting. And people who don't have student loans don't know about the student loan scam. Frankly, they can go F themselves as far as I'm concerned. This isn't about them. We know what's going on. We feel our constitutional rights being just blatantly ripped to shreds on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, yearly basis, all the time. It's pervasive, is my point. We have to put up with this shit, ladies and gentlemen. So grow a spine, quit being afraid of the federal government, would you please? In my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another dollar. And frankly, if you ever pay another dollar on your federal student loans, you will be in the tiny minority. Like I said, my current running guess is to what percentage of people will resume paying on their loans come January 1st. It's not, I'm thinking like 10% at this point. So anyways, I'm looking for your comments now on Facebook, if I can see them. I'm going to keep it short here tonight. As you can see, we're kind of in disarray. And hey, one quick kind of cool announcement. Huge shout out to Doug Grostefan, who from Indiana. Doug was able to engage famous actor John Cusack in a debate last night. John Cusack is one heck of a guy, I have to say. He is one of the true good guys. I don't know about all his politics, but I know that he is exactly spot on with student loans. And so we had a good chat with John Cusack last night. Check us out on Twitter. You can maybe find us, do a Google or something. Again, I'm looking for your comments now. I know we got a lot of comments too. I can tell we've got a bunch of people here tonight. So yeah, good on John Cusack. Remember, guys, if you forget everything I say tonight, remember this. Go to our website, do our daily actions. We've got a month really before early voting begins. We will not see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. Remember that trick I just said? Keep bankruptcy gone, do a fake loan cancellation. That is exactly what we're looking down the barrel of right now, guys. We've got to get our bankruptcy rights back. Whether you would ever never file doesn't matter. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, by the way. I don't think. Maybe a few people do. Bankruptcy is not pleasant. There's nothing, but that it doesn't matter. We've got to have the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. That's how bankruptcy is effective. That's the whole point of bankruptcy. It's not so that you can run out and file and, discharge your debt. By and large, the huge effectiveness, goodness of bankruptcy is that you can negotiate a fair and reasonable workout with your creditors. And if that means that you have to go all the way through and file and actually discharge your debt, well, that's the way that goes. But honestly, I don't think very many people will even have to file. Very few people, maybe even nobody. I think when we get the threat of bankruptcy back, I think it will be a very quick, pretty direct path between that and seeing actual, meaningful, maybe even nobody, widespread, deep, I think when wide threat of bankruptcy, maybe even total student loan cancellation. I don't know. If I was in Washington, D.C., I would be. When bankruptcy returned, if I was a swamp guy, I'd be like, the jig is up, guys. We can't do this anymore. We're either looking at a wave of bankruptcy filings that's just beyond belief, or let's start canceling some of this ridiculous bad debt, shall we? So yeah, guys, it all comes down to bankruptcy. If you forget everything I said tonight, go to our website, do our daily actions. Go to our website. Donate too if you can, but we don't need huge donations. We do need donations right now, by the way, but we're not in this for the money, guys. Way more valuable than any money you might donate is your actions. So let me just cue that in now. There it is right there. You can commit this to memory pretty easily. bit.ly/SLJ daily action. We've got a great bill in the Senate right now, S-2598. And this bill could be passed theoretically tomorrow. Here's the thing. Congress is on recess right now until like Tuesday of next week. So I kind of don't expect much to happen between now and Tuesday, but boy, I'm telling you guys, next week, they better do something, because right now it's hard to tell which party is on the hot seat more, the Democrats or the Republicans. But I'm here to tell you guys, we are the largest untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. I think the Democrats helped themselves tremendously with the student loan cancellation. I think the Republicans, quite frankly, as of this last thing that Biden did last Wednesday, a week ago today, I think the Republicans are flirting with snatching defeat from the jaws of victory this November. I kid you not, man. Watching right-wing media, Fox News, Newsmax, One America News, Real America Voice. If I was a diehard Republican and a student loan borrower watching these shows, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck these people. Pardon my French. I'm sorry. I'm not voting for these out. I'm not voting Republican. These people are out to get me. I'll vote Libertarian, or I'll not vote or something. But, listening to this finger waggy, these deadbeats, all the rhetoric that the GOP and its henchmen and the whole right-wing thing, that whole thing is just completely alienating to Republicans. And by the way, half of all student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. 1 out of 5 of all adults have student loans, and 85% of them were never going to be able to repay their loans even before the pandemic. That's 42 million distressed bipartisan student loan borrowers, voters, I should say. We vote. It's 20% of Fox's audience, 20% of Newsmax's audience. And as I said, 85% of those people are underwater. They're freaking out about their student loans. And then these just assholes everywhere, every channel, and probably on the many of the other channels as well, but certainly on the right-wing channels. I can't imagine that any student loan borrowers weren't viscerally pushed away from the GOP after the coverage that we've seen over the past week or so. And, you know, I very rarely make polling predictions, but my prediction is this. In the next week, the polls from this week, last week are going to come out. And I think the Republicans are going to go down by 2 solid clicks, maybe 3. I'm going to say 2 solid clicks. And I think the Democrats are going to go up by a click or so. Yeah, that's my guess. Anyways, you can, I think I think around next week, maybe the week after next week, I think the Republicans are going to go, oh yeah, we are completely wrong on the student loan issue. Oh shit, what do we do? At least that's my hope. That's my prediction and my hope at the same time. Let's just put it that way. So, hey, Victoria has a comment. Oh, that's a private thing. Yeah, Victoria, I will talk to you soon on that. Brian, got it? Somebody picked out the song I was badly playing. Alanis, indeed. Joanna Kearns, hey, how are you? Florida is important, Joanna. We hit Marco Rubio really hard today in Florida, by the way. Marco Rubio wrote a terrible op-ed at foxnews.com last Thursday. Terrible op-ed. We got to come after Marco Rubio hard. We got to come after Ron Johnson hard. We got to come after Chuck Grassley of Iowa really hard, guys. These are 3 very key Republican senators that we have got to get pushing, or at least not standing in the way of, hopefully publicly supporting S2598. If you forget everything I said tonight, guys, remember S2598. And very soon we should have a companion bill. We may already even have a companion bill in the House, but I can't say anything more about that right now. I will hopefully have some good information for you about the House soon, like next week, or maybe even earlier. Brian Landis says, quote unquote, I think he's quoting the Department of Education, quote, we will be developing forms over the coming weeks for the 43 million of you to fill out. Who's going to process those? Right. Exactly, Brian. It's one big FUBAR bureaucratic bunch of nonsense. We've seen it many times before for the 18 years that we've been doing this, guys. Don't trust that Biden loan cancellation. If you have less than 10 or less than $20,000 in student loans, don't think that you're done. Don't think that. You're probably not. I mean, if history is any guide, 99% rejection rate for all of the other student loan cancellation gimmicks that we've seen come and go over the years. So what makes this any different? Nothing that I can see, guys. If, you know, I'd be frankly stunned if even 20% at this point of the people with student loans actually get this $10,000 or $20,000 cancellation. So, hey, Jerry Eicher says, I heard that the Libertarian Party wants to make student loans dischargeable in bankruptcy. We've been hearing that, Jerry. We've been hearing many Republicans, many conservatives, many libertarians come around. We heard it from Mike Cernovich last week. We heard it from Matt Gaetz, who's a very MAGA Republican in Congress, by the way. We've seen op-eds. We've seen some terrible people like even Larry Summers, Beth Akers, and people from the National Review call for the return of bankruptcy. You know, we've got a Republican bankruptcy bill, by the way, in the House. Glenn Grothman in Wisconsin, HR 4563. I didn't say anything about that bill for the longest time because I just didn't see that it was going to go anywhere. But yeah, indeed, Republicans should be on our side, and many are. And opposition to bankruptcy has pretty much vanished over the past 2.5 years. So guys, I'm telling you, we're in a perfect position to finally get our bankruptcy rights back. I don't know how much more evidence I need to give to you to tell you that we're very close. And I don't know what else I can say to more strongly emphasize the point that this stuff does not happen in a vacuum, guys. What we do matters. What we do matters fucking big time. Pardon my French. This group, we are the reason we have a bankruptcy bill to fight for at all. I'm not so sure we can claim credit for the House Republican bill, Glenn Grothman, but we are certainly the reason the Senate bill is here. In fact, this group is the reason that we're even talking about canceling student loans by executive order. I kid you not. Do a Google News search for cancel student loans and by executive order. And the very first article you will see ever written on that question of whether the president can broadly cancel student loans by executive order was an interview we did with Vice News. You know, we started our petition that got up over 1 million signatures calling on the president, then President Trump, to cancel student loans by executive order way before Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer, any of the mainstream politicos, latched on to the concept. So this group is way more important than you think. And I can tell you firsthand, guys, when you do nothing, nothing good happens for us. So, so Michael Chaney says, I will not have it. Everything is going up. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Michael, but I think you're talking about inflation if I'm halfway a good guesser. You know, I was on Fox News quite a few months ago, and they're like, oh, wouldn't canceling student loans cause inflation? I said, I think student loan borrowers are being wrecked by inflation. You know, average household, $500 a month more in expense just because of inflation. And this repayment pause only put, at least on paper, $400 a month back into student loan borrowers' pockets. Is actually like half of that amount, by the way. So yeah, inflation is wrecking us. And as long as inflation persists, anyways, I'm just going to leave that there. Brian Landis says, Texas tends to treat it as income. So 27%. Holy what is that, Brian? That can't be the state income tax rate. I'm not even sure what you mean there. Texas may even treat it as a bonus, so 40%. Yeah, I don't know what that doesn't sound like Texas tax rates to me, Brian. Is there a state income tax in Texas? I don't know. Michael Chaney says, time to head to Mexico. Well, you know, this is our country, ladies and gentlemen. It's worth fighting for. And, you know, we've got an expatriate group here. Don't get me wrong. People have fled the country as a result of their student loans. My personal opinion is, hey, this is our country. If you're going to get scared off of American soil because of fucking student loans, then there is no hope. Consolidation is, we don't give any advice there, guys, but here's another little bit of news for you before I sign off here, before I get through the rest of your questions as well. The second most expensive Google AdWord is loans, and the first most expensive category under loans are graduate school consolidation loans, student loans. So social media is making a ton of money off of our asses, guys. You know, you wonder why it seems like we get filtered and muted and suppressed on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. You have to wonder what's going on there. And you have to wonder some of the other very suspicious groups like, oh, I'm not going to mention any names, student debt crisis. You have to wonder if maybe they're making a little bit of those, if they're getting a little slice of that pie. My spider senses are tingling big time on that, guys. But whatever, guys, we never expected the internet would solve this problem for us. We've got to fight, guys. We've got a fight on our hands. This is your battle. These are your loans. Your livelihood hangs in the balance here. And I've been doing this for 18 fucking years, as has Ed, I see, as has many people on our group. And we need this thing done. And you can't expect us to pull your weight for you. You got to get with the program, and you got to help us fight. If you think this Biden thing's going to help you, and you know, you're living in a rose-colored bubble or whatever, then you can just get off our group, because we don't want you here. This is a working, fighting group. And you have no idea how important you are. And to everybody I've seen here tonight, Michael, Lisa, Ed, everyone, Terry, we are the pioneers. And you know, I salute you. We all sort of salute each other, because we've gotten our knuckles bloody and dirty, and we know what this fight is. Feels good to fight, by the way. I think everybody to a person would agree with me on that. It's cathartic. It feels good. The founding fathers are on our side. hundreds of millions of people, whether they know it or not, are on our side. Certainly tens of millions of people who right now are sitting around freaking out about their student loans. They are on our side, but most of them don't know about us. Over 1 million do, so that's good. Spread the word about this group, guys. Spread the word. Don't believe the nonsense bullshit groups out there claiming to be fighting for student loan borrowers. When Biden does his announcement last week, they're all hugging and kissing and crying and popping champagne. That's ridiculous, guys. We never did that. First thing we did was wrote what all looks bad about Biden's plan. And there's a lot that looks very bad, very tricky, very suspicious about Biden's plan. Go to bit.ly/SLJ tricky if you want to read all of our very serious, very, very meaningful concerns about this very suspicious loan cancellation plan. Yeah, that's not us, guys. All we care about is solving the problem. Great point, Lisa. I'm glad you brought it up. You know, there were some hidden things in that Biden announcement the other day. First hidden thing was the fact that they basically closed the door on doing any future student loan cancellations by executive order. By pointing to their executive authority imbued by the HEROES Act, which is an emergency thing, a COVID thing, and COVID's going away. So that was something that everybody should be concerned about. I think when we get bankruptcy rights back, Biden will be forced to cancel student loans broadly by executive order, but he certainly doesn't want to, and that came out in last week's announcement. And obviously, the repayment pause was ended. So the loans, I think a 99% chance the loans absolutely will start repayment again on January 1st. But the thing that Lisa brings up, which is so important, if you also read the fine sort of what wasn't said in that announcement last Wednesday, they are not extending that public service loan forgiveness waiver, right? That thing was, the expiration is October 31st. And when October 31st comes and goes, that's it. Even if you work for a nonprofit for 10 years and paid, that's it. You will no longer be eligible to apply for this waiver. And so all kinds of tricks, guys. Don't trust the Department of Education. I guess that's what I'm really trying to say here. Yay. I think the federal government is hunky-dory. The DOD, the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Agriculture and Department of Commerce and the Interior, whatever that is. All the federal agencies, they do transportation. They all do Veterans Affairs. They all do a great job, right? I'm sure they look out for their people and they help those farmers and they help those disabled people. They do a fine job. Not the Department of Education. The Department of Education is a captured, corrupted agency. It just is, guys. So we're not calling for, the overthrow of the government or anything stupid like that. But guys, the Department of Education, certainly the Office of Federal Student Aid, it needs to be disbanded, quite frankly. Yeah, good article today at Bloomberg. We expect more good articles to come out any day now from other places as well. The wind is we're in a very delicate position right now. Let me just say that, guys. What we do right now really matters. If ever you were going to spend a couple hours every evening for the next month fighting this battle, whether it's on Twitter or doing our daily actions, going back and doing 6 months worth of our daily actions, frankly, would be extremely helpful. You got to fight. Now would be the time. This is the time where they say fish or cut bait or get off the pot. That too, but I'm going to keep it clean tonight, and I'm just going to say that first thing. Fish or cut bait. Do or do not, as Yoda said. Your livelihood, your loans hang in the balance of what happens over the next month. I think certainly over between now and the end of the year. So, all right, guys, I'm overwhelmed with comments tonight. I'm so sorry that I can't get to all of them, but I hope I answered most of your questions. And just remember, guys, forget everything I said, whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, whether you want your loans canceled, whether you want to file for bankruptcy, whether you want a break on interest, no matter what you want for your student loans, We've got to get the constitutional right and threat of bankruptcy returned. S2598 is hugely important right now. So do our daily actions. It's the minimum that you can do. Two more quick things. Get your local media, your local TV, radio, newspaper to report on the student loan problem. Have them get a hold of us. We can provide them people in your community with very compelling stories, willing to tell their stories, willing to be interviewed. We're willing to do all the heavy lifting here, guys. We will knock them down if you set them up. That's the way it works best. You call, say, hey, you should really interview this group. They're fighting for the return bankruptcy or the cancellation. Say whatever you need to say to get your local news organizations to do a story. Give them my number, 202-594-1120. Give them my email, justice@studentloanjustice.org or Alan, ALAN, @studentloanjustice.org. Tell them everything I just said. Make a news story happen, please. Second quick thing, go to our website and do our special action. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Do our special action. Studentloanjustice.org, do our special action. It's like a box of chocolates, and I will let you find out why that's true. So we're on a roll, guys. I'll be back on Friday. Make something happen, dudes. Make it happen. And one last pitch for donations. I hate begging for money, guys. Please, would you please donate at this time so I don't have to quit fucking... I'm no good at fundraising, so please just donate. Make it easier on me, please. I'll be back on Friday. Our fearless co-leader, Ed McKinley, will be with you tomorrow night. So take care. Good luck. Daily actions, studentloanjustice.org, daily actions. Godspeed. Daily action. And God bless everybody. Let's get this done.